It was the first time this little dog ever found a meaty bone. It got so excited running down the street with it in its mouth, but the very next second, the bone got hit and flew out of its mouth. The dog rushed into a crowd trying to find it. Just then, it saw a woman holding a piece of bread. A troop of soldiers happened to be passing by. Seeing how sad and hungry the dog looked, a young soldier named Robert reached into his pocket, pulled out a cookie, and threw it to the dog. That one cookie was all it took for the dog to remember Robert forever. It followed the smell and tracked him all the way to the new soldier training camp. The smart dog dug a hole under the fence and squeezed through the gap. Following the smell of food, it reached the kitchen and found a table full of ribs, but before it could take a bite, the cook kicked it out. The dog ran around, bumping into people, and suddenly crashed right into Robert. It smelled the same familiar scent and was sure this was the kind man who gave it the cookie, so it sat right by Robert's feet and refused to leave. Robert tried to push it away, but the dog's barking caught the attention of a high-ranking officer. Seeing the way Robert and the dog looked at each other, the officer thought it was Robert's pet, so he told Robert to take care of it. From then on, the dog joined the training. When the officer gave orders, the dog even stood up straight like a real soldier. The officer was so impressed, he started liking the dog a lot. After so many days wandering on the streets, the dog finally had a place to stay. It followed Robert around the camp and quickly became loved by everyone because of how smart and obedient it was. But good days didn't last. War broke out, and as new soldiers, Robert and his unit were sent to the battlefield. On the day they were leaving, the dog sneaked into Robert's backpack, hoping to go along. But Robert tied a leash around its neck and gave it to the army cook, asking him to take care of it. As Robert walked away, the dog pulled hard to break free. It followed Robert's scent all the way to the train station. The train had already started moving, but the dog ran along the tracks, jumped up, and climbed onto the last carriage. It then quietly crawled into one of the cargo boxes. Later, the dog made its way to the soldiers' rest area on the ship. With its sharp nose, it found Robert again. To keep it hidden, Robert stuffed it inside his backpack, hoping no one would notice. But right then, they ran into the colonel face to face. The dog, acting just like Robert, gave a little military salute. The colonel, who was about to get angry, paused and saluted back with a smile. Then he gave the dog an ID number and made it a real part of the army. When they finally reached the battlefield, covered in smoke and gunfire, everyone realized war was scarier than they imagined. Cold, hungry, and scared, they waited through the night for dawn. But just as the sun began to rise, the enemy suddenly attacked. After the smoke cleared, the dog seemed to spot something. Without thinking twice, it ran straight into danger.